Okay, gonna try and be as concise as possible here. I was making alt accounts with my brother so we could draft, and I opened this, and I have a nostalgia boner for Crystal Beasts, okay? I love fucking Crystal Beasts, so I wanted to, like, this was going to be my Crystal Beast account, okay? So I was gonna rank up, I was gonna hit plat with Crystal Beast. That was the plan. Except when you start doing this, you realize the worst part about Crystal Beasts is, in fact, the Crystal Beasts. So we're running as few Crystal Beasts as possible. I did still get plat. Fuck plat 1, no shot in hell. There is a way, I'll talk about it a little bit after. But generally speaking, this will just get you to plat. If you like Crystal Beasts, this is just a... It's barely even Crystal Beasts, but it plays all of the Crystal Beasts, so you can't say it's not Crystal Beasts. But it's probably not really Crystal Beasts. Yeah, I'll just show you the deck list now. Okay, so that's right, it's invoked. Surprise. As are my opponents when they're playing against this deck, which is why it sort of works. I have some replays I can show. They're not the best replays. I kind of missed some of the good ones, but we have some cool replays. Anyways, so what are we doing here? We're playing a metric fuck ton of garnets, okay? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and technically 11, 12 garnets in our deck. We are playing 12 garnets in our deck, okay? We have 12 cards in our deck that if you draw them, generally speaking, they do absolutely nothing, okay? You could even say 14 if you count the trap, because there's a good chance it doesn't even resolve. Anywho, let me get on with the explanation. So the trap is the best Crystal Beast card. The reason is that it summons the Overdragon, which, since that's the one that we have foiled, that's pretty good. So this card lets us shuffle all cards on the field into the decks at spell speed 2. So the idea is we summon this card, and we shuffle everything back, okay? Then we have to win the game from there. It can also get very big. It can be 5,800 if we banish a Pegasus, but that's really about all that it does. Okay, so how does this work? So in order to activate Ultimate Crystal Magic, you have to have the 7 Crystal Beasts. So we have the 7 Crystal Beasts. They can be anywhere, on field, in deck, in hand, just not in graveyard, okay? We only play 7 of them. That means we don't have duplicates. So unless we add them back with an Emerald, you're probably not getting to activate this card if any of them get destroyed in a way that doesn't proc this card's ability while they're face down. So we have kind of some interesting ways that we can, like, make this work. So if we set the Crystal Beast face down and we set the trap face down, they're unlikely to know what we're doing, and there's a good chance that they will attack into it. Remember, we're playing mostly gold players here. We're clowning on them, all right? It's pretty likely, actually, that they just attack into the monster. So, if this happens, we use the monster's effect to put it in the back row, essentially graveyard dodging with the monster so that we can activate the trap and then summon the thing. Essentially also deck thinning 7 cards out of our deck. 7 garnets out of our deck. Or 6, I should say, because one of them at least will be on the field, and you might be ripping some cards out of your hand if you've drawn any of them, but I digress. Now, if we summon the Crystal Beast face down, and they pop it with an effect, you're fucked. So you could also just summon the Crystal Beast, and if you do this, then if they pop it, you can put it in the back row and maybe still have a chance of resolving your trap. So if you open the trap, and, you know, that might be the play, but some of the wiser individuals out there may understand that if you're playing Crystal Beast and you have a trap face down, and they swing into it, you will get to flip it. Okay, I'm tangenting on this for too long. So, the main way you're going to actually activate this is you set the trap, and then, like, if you don't play the Crystal Beast that turn, on the next turn you summon it, suicide it, and then flip the trap. This way, your opponent doesn't really have a proper way of dealing with it most of the time. That said, again, we're clowning in gold. A lot of people will just swing into it if you set the 2 cards face down. We also have a lot of hand traps here. We have 3 ashes, 3 imperms, 2 gammas, and 3 maxx's. Now, obviously, if we have a monster, we can't use the gammas. That's not really what it's for. The gamma's for blocking ashes and things when we like try and make our plays. So essentially, by slowing down our opponent as much as possible, we increase the likelihood that they will just attack into our monster, and we also greatly improve our going second game when we don't get to go first and set all our like traps and play all our cards going first. Now, putting that aside for a second, you're going to notice that we have an invoked engine. We have 2 Alaisters, could be 3, but yeah, actually probably should be playing 3, but I digress. We have 2 Alaisters, 2 Meltdown, 1 Terra, and 1 Invocation. Probably could be playing 2 Invos as well. The thing with Invo is that you only really need the 1 for this kind of deck, but there are upsides to running 2 of them. I don't need to go into all of the niche details on it, but running 2 could be good. Now, this is the best part of the deck, because it allows you to like make Mechaba going first, or like make Purgatria or something, or Agodes or whatever going second. And Agodes can get really fucking fat in this deck. You can get like 6k big, right? And point being, in the invoked engine allows the deck to work beyond we summon a monster that wipes our opponent's board, because let's be real, it doesn't really do a whole lot actually. Now, what are we doing? We're playing a Rainbow Dragon. Are we playing the Rainbow Dragon? No, of course we're not playing the Rainbow Dragon. Can you? Yes, I've done it. But we have a Neos, and we're playing Neos Fusion. Why? Because Neos Fusion is insane, and also gives us cards that wipe our opponent's board. So the idea is we can get Rainbow Neos, and this card is absurd. So between the Rainbow Neos, the Rainbow Over Dragon, and like Mechaba, we have a deck that like kind of does things that our opponent will have trouble dealing with, and we also can put a lot of fucking damage on the board and can kill our opponent. With that said, we're running 2 Pot of Prosperities to up the consistency just that little bit. Of course, the problem is it halves the damage our opponent takes, but that's fine. We're kind of playing the long game, surprisingly. And then we have Trap Trick to help us get to our ultimate Crystal Magic at spell speed 2. When they swing into our Crystal Beast, we can kind of like flip it preemptively like that. Or into Awaken the Dragon if they throw a Feather Duster and otherwise would fuck us over. Okay. Probably could get away with 2 Called by the Graves 2 instead of Gammas and just not play the Gammas, then put in the other Invoke stuff, and the deck might be better, but I digress. This is what we have. Let's look at the extra deck real quick. We have Awakening the Dragon's target to stop monsters. We have Awakening the Dragon's target to stop spell and traps. Probably I would cut the Last Warrior, surprisingly, for an Ultimate Falcon, because every time I play Awakening the Dragons and it doesn't get ashed, either I go into Last Warrior and then somehow it fucks me over. I think some guy playing Dark Worlds had a 2400 defense monster and I got fucked. Or they already have monsters by the time they pop it and it doesn't help us. So I feel like Ultimate Falcon just would have been better in most of those scenarios. But I digress. We have our 2 targets. We have a bunch of invoked things, including the Fusion guy. This guy's pretty good. And then we have 2 Rainbow Neos. Usually one of them gets banished off of Pot along with the Last Warrior. We have an Elysium. We have the Overdragon. This is because we have the Gamma package. Emerald is our only way we can get into Rainbow Neos twice, because it puts the targets back in deck. Or you can save your Crystal Beasts if you somehow want to go through that line of play. Vert Anaconda adds some much needed consistency into getting Neos Fusion. This is how you win most of your games, actually, and the way you're usually making it is Aleister Mechaba, which is not ideal. But yeah, if you were playing an actual Crystal Beast variant of the deck, I would say like Crystal Promise is probably how you would like be wanting to get into this. With 3 Pegasus. So if you wanted more Crystal Beasts in the deck, that's probably how you would do it, along with maybe Crystal Bonds, right? Yeah, I think 2 Pegasus and like 2 or 3 Pegasus and some Crystal Bonds, and maybe like at that point you could add in like the Rainbow Bridge again, and you'd have a little bit more Crystal Beasts, and you would get some consistency to see this card more often. This is here for the Aleister, so we can go into the Mechaba, And then we have a Zeus here to go off of the Emerald if we need it. Cool, that's about it. Let's go take a look at 2 replays real quick. And, yeah, you know, the deck's fun. It's really fun. So we have here a not very meta matchup, as most of these games weren't, because let's be real, it's in gold. I did have some wins against like some Tri-Brigade and some other stuff, but it wasn't very consistent against the actual meta decks, I would say. Although you'd be surprised in some of the instances. So let's see, we have here a Solitaire pop. We maxx it because we need to get into our actual cards that help our deck. We don't really have a play with this hand right now, so I'm actually going to let him combo a little bit if possible. Have the gamma if we need to stop him, but it looks like he just stops because maxx. We draw into an actual card, thank God, and then he goes for the maxx, at which point we can use our gamma very effectively. So we're going to gamma him here. I'm going to speed up just a little bit here because resolving chains is slow. We're going to go into a probably pretty unnecessary Omega here. Play an Aleister, start going down this chain. Even though we do have the Crystal Magic and the Carbuncle, we're going to Pot of Prosperity, and you'll see that I banish here just some random cards. Again, Last Warrior and Eos, and then one other thing, and I picked Emerald in this case. It doesn't really matter that much. So we're going to go ahead and make that so that we have access to Mechaba. I Invocation, using his Solitaire to get it out of the graveyard. Kind of foolishly, I don't go into a Mechaba for safety, but banishing Solitaire is pretty good. At this point, I Neos Fusion for the Rainbow Neos and start to go for game by spinning back his monster. Unfortunately, I don't read his card, which prevents him from taking battle damage for the turn. So we are unable to actually kill him on this turn, and I don't actually set my trap, which I probably should have. He goes into a monster. He starts doing his combos. There's nothing I can do because I foolishly didn't make a Mechaba. So he's actually going to have a chance here to come back. Let's see what he does with it. Okay, seems good, right? Makes a big boy. He gets it to 55. It's very big. He's going to go ahead, lower the Neos attack, swing at it, and oh, Neos Fusion protects it. That's unfortunate. It's almost like nobody knows what you're doing in this deck. We're going to go for another Aleister play here, throw out a Mechaba, and obviously we have way more damage than we could possibly need to kill our opponent, who has literally nothing left to defend himself. I'm saying we and our, but you know I mean me. Cool. All right. Let's go on to the other replay, which I didn't actually save, but I know where it is. To be fair, I would also like to specify I climbed up to Plat 5 from Bronze in 1 day. I did all of that in 1 day, so it wasn't that bad of a grind. Did I play a lot on that day? Yeah, I played a fair bit, but so I would say that like also a lot of it was slowed down by the fact that people in gold can play very slowly. People in bronze and silver can play really slowly, even though they don't have anything. The nice thing about this deck is that it does kill your opponent very quickly. If it does kill your opponent, you kind of know very fast if you're going to win or lose, and so you can scoop it up or like kill your opponent quickly and move on to the next game. What am I looking for here? Match history. Wow, look at all those W's. Oh my god. All right. These load times in this game are really long. Okay, what matchup do we have here? I don't actually remember. I just remember that I wanted to show this replay for some reason. I'm going first. Okay, we go for the Terraforming. We go for the Meltdown. We play the Meltdown. The other thing I will say is that Neos Fusion can be ashed, and Aleister might be single-handedly the best piece of ash bait ever printed on a card. It just reads delete ash. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like if your opponent has an ash, it will get used on one of the Aleister cards. So if you do that first, it'll just happen. Because he goes for the maxx here, we're just going to sit on our Mechaba, and we're not going to worry about playing the Neos Fusion probably until next turn, because we don't want to give him more cards when we're trying to stop him from playing and live another turn just so we can OTK him. We're going to add back our Aleister so that we have an extra boyo to pitch for our negate. Gonna shotgun the maxx because at all costs the only thing that we care about is fucking not getting absolutely run over this turn. He's gonna go for an Evil Thorns, we're going to negate it, and of course this is gold, so why would he have a follow-up play in whatever shitty deck he is playing? And even if he does, it's okay as long as he doesn't set up negators that we can't break. I'm gonna go for the Aleister first. It is at this point I go straight into the Neos fusion instead of overextending into a second invoked fusion that I probably don't really need. We go ahead, pop the Meltdown to spin back all his back row, and then he concedes, realizing we have 8,000 damage on the board. Yeah. Anywho, I mean, that's about it. I was talking earlier about how you could get the deck to Plat 1. I'll be real honest, the best way to get this deck to Plat 1 is probably just to take out all of the crystal beasts. So if we go back to our deck list here and we look at all the cards, they're actually pretty good. The deck is a pretty good deck. There's a lot of good things going on here. Except the crystal beasts, which you'll notice in both of those games where we absolutely nutted our opponent, we didn't use them. Now, does it come up? Yes, it does come up in this deck because we make it come up in this deck. But if you take all those out and put literally anything else in, the deck is probably better. It turns out Crystal Beasts just aren't very good. I've been playing around with just trying to build a deck that has like Sky Striker engine and some other, like maybe some kaijus in there, like anything the fuck else, mind controls. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do more testing, and like obviously I'm not even done crafting all the cards here because you'll notice almost every card in this deck is high rarity. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Feel free to try your own things. This is just what I've been looking into. Haven't really gotten to do a whole lot of testing with this, so I wouldn't really recommend anyone to just go ahead and just build this card for card and like go for it. Probably needs more spells to make the engage package work. Maybe some droplets instead of kaijus. I'm not really sure. Anyways, I think that's more or less all I wanted to go over for today. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you also can have some fun clowning on people in gold with Crystal Beasts and get yourself to Plat. If you actually want to hit Plat 1, check out my other video the other day with the Numerons.